Hi, everyone. It's me, Krylios, Team Racing Productions MC and producer. And joining me today is musician Emma G. Welcome. Hi,
So good
Emma.
to
How
see you
are
again.
you?
This is exciting.
This is exciting. This is exciting. How are you doing?
Oh my goodness, I'm blessed. I am
Yeah.
blessed. There's like, I feel like I'm constantly chasing my tail, trying to catch up with everything that's going
Mhm.
on. There's a lot happening in the world, both personally, community-wise,
Mhm.
and of course globally. So I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be able to use my music and all the things that I do proactively and productively, and just trying to kind of make the most out of what is it, lemonade?
Turning those lemons into lemonade. I love that. I
Yes.
love that. Well, to kick this off, please tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, your background and experience and how you started music. How did you get into music in the first place?
We'll be here for an hour to give you that background. But to kind of give you an idea of who I am, hello everybody, happy Tuesday. My name is Emma G. I am a singer, songwriter, musician, and artivist, originally from New Zealand, now living in Washington D.C. Through the last few years of being a musician, a musicpreneur, as I call myself. However, I have been blessed to expand my mission, so now I'm also a youth empowerment through songwriting coach for teenagers. I am also an author. In fact, I have my book here, which is exciting. And I'm also a TEDx speaker and keynote speaker. So things have like super expanded, grown, developed, and are continuing to evolve in a number of ways. So I'm trying my best to, balance the creativity and sanity and trying to save the world one song at a time. So
Certainly, certainly. Talk to me about your music. What kind of themes do you like to explore when it comes to music? What draws you in when you think of writing something new, when it comes to maybe covering someone else's song? What kind of things kind of draw you?
So that's a great question because I didn't get into music for the reason I think a lot of people get into music. For me, I was born with a rare health condition, hydrocephalus,
Mhm.
for which I had my first brain surgery at the age of 4 months and have had
Mm.
24 surgeries and 10 brain surgeries throughout my entire life. So music to me is not just there for enjoyment, it's there for communication,
Mhm.
connection,
Mhm.
self-expression. So a lot of the
Mm.
songs that I cover, for example, are songs about self-love,
Yes.
songs about resilience, songs
Mhm.
about inner strength and healing and teamwork. Um, you know, and then the songs that I write are very much the same. Whether
Mhm.
it's the song cover that you just showed, Unity and Devastation, it's a song about climate change, specifically about drought and flood. I write,
Mhm.
I've got a new song coming out later this year called Puppet, which is all about the metaphorical and literal masks that we
Mhm.
place on ourselves and that society places on us to, as a coping mechanism, as a survival technique. And so, yeah, it's for me, the music that I gravitate towards and create is very much focused on being a Jedi,
Mhm.
justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion.
Oh, we love that. We love that. And I know your EP, I Am, it just came out. What was the process like making that, and what has the response been since it's been out?
That's a great question. So, I Am is the second child, if you will, of my Write a Song a Day challenge that I did last year. So, to give you a little bit more schema, as I mentioned, I'm a youth empowerment through songwriting coach. I
Mhm.
have been blessed to use music and songwriting my entire life to help me connect with people, to help me look inside and overcome my own trauma, and then communicate with the world,
Mm-hmm.
who I am, how I want to show up. And then, of course, the reprogramming of the brain comes as part of that as well, but we'll talk about that later. However, I got so involved in, well, just before the pandemic hit, I decided to get back to my other love of youth work, which is why I launched Yes Youth Coaching, Youth Empowerment through Songwriting. And that was a beautiful process to sort of launch this new child of healing and resiliency and building this next generation of warriors. But I got kind of so engaged and engrossed in their processes that I forgot about my own processes.
Mm-hmm.
And, I wanted to lead by example, because I think a lot of humans, whether you're a teenager or an adult, we tend to forget how powerful we are. And so we think of these like songwriting, I can't do that. That's way too difficult. Or, becoming a astrophysicist, I can't do that. That's way too difficult. Like we place these limitations on ourselves. And I wanted to sort of lead the way that actually this is possible. So I wrote a song a day for 30 days straight throughout the month of February back in 2021. And last year released a subsequent album called Born in Crisis, which I think I talked to you about last year. This album is the second level, I think, of the Born in Crisis album, because it features 6 songs that were also from the challenge. However, the production's very different. Born in Crisis is very much, naked and stripped back and, just me and my guitar. This album is more harmonies and vulnerability and like kind of gives this next level rawness that I really wanted to express to the world, because I think we're so afraid to be raw. And we need to remember that in order to make a cake, you need raw ingredients. We need to honor those scary, vulnerable parts of ourselves in order to become the superhero badasses that we're all capable of becoming.
Certainly. I love that. And, as you said, you are a youth empowerment music coach. You do keynote speaks. And of course, you just did TEDx. Tell me about that experience and tell me about that experience and what it was like being able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. So I went to my very first TED Talk back in 2014 when I was still living in New Zealand. And I kind of, it planted a seed in my head, like, I want to do this. But of course, I'm a musician. How do you balance music and speaking together? Well, I have spent a lot of time, specifically over the pandemic, to really lean into who I actually am. Again, we need to lead by example if we're going to be the change we want to see in the world. So my leading by example was recognizing those scary, vulnerable parts of myself and being unapologetic about them, recognizing that there is power in those scary spaces, and sharing the stories of my brain surgeries and the memory loss and the significant depression and suicidal thoughts that I had, and the isolation, the bullying, and all of those parts of myself I kind of was ashamed of, so I hid them. The minute I started talking about that, I got a phone call one day saying, hey, we're putting together the next TEDx event in Rockville. Would you like to be a speaker? And I thought, what the heck? Like, manifestation is real, y'all. Like, that's crazy. Yes, heck yes. So this has been a beautiful experience, and I want to say a massive, massive thank you to the Learn Institute in Rockville, who hosted it and, emceed the event. By them giving me this opportunity, I've been able to create this space for myself to no longer just be a musician and not just be a keynote speaker. How I'm seeing myself these days is like, if you can imagine, I don't know, Michelle Obama and Brené Brown and Mel Robbins combined with Adele, Alicia Keys, and the last one I said. Like, and I think that's important because motivational, like these motivational speakers, I don't know if you listen to motivational speakers or keynote speakers. I love every day spending time listening to people like Jim Rohn and Steve Harvey and all of these incredible voices that keep me inspired. But Generation Z is built different. This next generation of young people do not necessarily have that attention span to last for 10 minutes even listening to somebody speak. So I've been able to combine motivational speaking and informational speaking with music to help hammer home these ideas that actually you're powerful and you're beautiful and you can wave your freak flag unapologetically, and there is magic in that. And, you know, together we're going to make it through, even though it feels scary to look people in the eye, even though it feels, you know, unnerving to have those difficult conversations. Let's do it through songwriting. Let's do it through music and help everybody, not just Generation Z, but everybody step into their power and recognize the power and their authenticity and, you know, be the change.
Certainly. You know, you said something at the start of this interview. You called yourself an artivist, which I really like. And I know one of the things you are passionate about when it comes to activism is when it comes to reproductive health, reproductive justice. So tell me what you've got planned or what your outlook and perspective is now, especially considering Roe v. Wade and, you know, what that means and what just happened with that overturning.
For sure. So I should preface this that I have never been pregnant and I've never been faced with having to have an abortion. However, I have been raped multiple times and I cannot even begin to fathom what could have happened if I was to be forced to have the child of my abuser. That is not a reality that I don't even want to think about. Roe v. Wade, and I know that there's a lot of misinformation about what the bill was. However, Roe v. Wade, as it was, basically was there, put in place, from my understanding, to safeguard doctors in terms of being able to, you know, medically allow women the opportunity to abort a child. The overturning of this bill means that there's no longer any protection for medical staff. There's definitely no longer any protection for women, and there's very little comprehension for the implications, I think, on potential fathers. So, and I'm not a politician, so I don't want to go too involved with that. But how I am seeing my position is that I want to be a voice for those who are affected by this decision, but don't know how to express it and don't know what to do about it. So if you're a woman, if you're a man who an accident happened and you somehow ended up with a child, or whatever possible, you know, eventuality happens, I want to do all I can to ensure access to birth control, access to freedom of choice when it comes to one's body, access to, you know, recognizing the science behind what actually makes a life. You know, at the end of the day, as it stands at the moment, a cadaver has more rights to one's body autonomy than a woman who's carrying a child, which is crazy to me. So what I've done is I was on my way to Milwaukee to play at Summerfest alongside some really crazy names when I was handed a sign at the airport, and a woman the sign said equality. In order for us to achieve equality, we need to have equal rights. That, like me carrying that sign throughout DC airport, New York airport, Milwaukee, and Detroit, got in front of NPR. NPR called me and said, "What are you doing with your platform?" And I said, "You know what? That's a great point. Let me put together a benefit concert series called Voices for Choice, where I don't just want to invite musicians to speak on the overturning of Roe v. Wade. I also want, other keynote speakers to speak on the overturning. I want to create a compilation album of DMV artists who have a perspective that they want to share. I want to, then lead that to a studio compilation album. I want to have this conversation carry on, because it's so easy to forget after a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I need this, we all need this. This is a human rights issue. We all need this conversation to carry on longer than just 1 week. So next month, we have Tony Porter, who runs an organization called A Call to Men, coming up from North Carolina to speak at that event. The third event will either be another compilation concert, or it might even be the album release from these two concerts together. And then the studio release party will be later in the year as well. So I want to, keep this conversation going, because again, some of us are really lucky to live in democratic states, what do you call it? Democratic states, and others are more in red states, and that's fine. But if you don't have money and you fall pregnant and you don't have any access to, the right public health when it comes to women's reproductive health, this isn't just a right to life. This is an issue about right to life at all. This is right to healthcare. This is about freedom of choice when it comes to making sure that every life that is born into a quality life.
Certainly.
With access to education and food and shelter. Unfortunately, there are a number of people across this country who just don't have that access, and to force a child to be born into those situations is unfathomable. So I want to do all I can to help raise awareness, keep the conversation going, keep us excited about it, keep us singing about it, and encourage as many people to vote as possible so that we can make sure that we are making the right decisions for all of us.
Awesome. And you mentioned your book earlier, so I do want to touch on that a little bit. What can people expect when they pick up a copy of Reconnecting with Your Teenager?
So Reconnect with Your Teenager is a parent's guide to helping your stressed or anxious kid by using the art of songwriting. And it is exactly what I do as a youth empowerment coach. Everything I do as a coach is in this book. But this is specifically for parents to work with their teenagers, because sure, it's all well and good to have a coach like me come in, but obviously parents want to have a go first. Unfortunately, a lot of teenagers don't necessarily want to listen to their parents. So, it may not be the best fit for the parents to be the coach in that sort of situation. But I would love to, I just want parents to know how to do this. There are so many beautiful parents who are raising children who are traumatized by the past, several years of the pandemic. This book was created to help them help their teenagers go through, heal, overcome, and become healthy humans again.
Awesome. Well, Emma, how can people get this book, access your music, and keep up with what you are doing, follow you and all of that? How are people able to do that?
So the best thing you can do is go to my website, emmagmusic.com. Alternatively, if you just want to check out the book, it is available on Amazon. Just Google my name, Emma G, and all of the things will show up.
Perfect. And we will have Emma G music in the that link in the description below so that our viewers can go ahead and check that out. Emma G, thank you so much for joining me today. It is always a pleasure getting to catch up with you. Thank you for being here and good luck and great success on the rest of your ventures. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Have a great day, Krylios. It's great to see you.
You too. To our viewers, please follow Team Racing Productions at Team Racing on all forms of social media. Click around our YouTube channel and check out our other interviews, vlogs, forums, and more. And while you're at it, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. But most of all, thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.